Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys checking out today's video and spending some time with me, because today guys we're going to be talking about 3 techniques you need to try this spring. You probably have not used these techniques that we're going to go over today because they're sort of specialized, but I got 3 things that work for me really good in the early spring. I'm talking about like during the pre-spawn period when the water temperature's in the 50s. I catch a lot of big ones doing this. So I'm going to clue you in on that so you guys can get prepped for it, get ready for that over the next month or so. Also, guys, just a quick invitation before we get started. I'd like to invite everybody to please hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. It's free and easy, really good way to support the channel if you like the content here. And also, guys, I'm going to include my Blaukat's Corner link in the description. This is the page I have on Tackle Warehouse where I suggest the best baits for that every particular month, the best baits for that month, with a correlating video on how to fish them. So I'll put all that link in the description and really appreciate that. Okay, we're coming up close on probably one of my favorite times of year to fish, and that's the pre-spawn period of the year, usually late February, March, early April, depending upon where you're at. And there's something magical in bass fishing when the water gets in the 50s. I think during the pre-spawn when the water temperature's in the 50s, it's just the best time to catch good fish. I mean, there's a window of about 3 or 4 weeks that you're sort of in that time frame. There's more quality fish up shallow and biting and catchable during that time frame than any other time of the year. And these 3 techniques that we're going to go over today, I'm going to sort of explain when they work under each scenario here. So surely there's going to be something you can apply to the lake that you guys fish. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is a big jerkbait. This is the Megabass Kanata, a 7-inch jerkbait. This is not like a traditional jerkbait, which most jerkbaits are 4.5 inches long. This thing is 7 inches long. And during the pre-spawn of the year, guys, I don't know if you've tried it or not, but these big, oversized, giant jerkbaits catch big fish. You know, that Perfect 10 Rogue, the big Rapalas, Megabass Kanata. And also, guys, I'll link all the lures I'm talking about today in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video if you guys would like to pick them up. But pre-spawn time of the year, oversized jerkbait's a good way to catch big ones here. Now, here's what you need to have for that. In order to catch fish on these big jerkbaits, you've got to have the right conditions and you got to have the right type of water. It'll work in a lot of different type of waters as far as lakes that have current in it, grass in it, rock in it. If you do have grass, I suggest fishing it over those deeper grass beds. Most people don't, so this is primarily going to be a rock-oriented suspended fish technique for the pre-spawn time of the year. Here is what I look for. I'm wanting water temperature sort of in the mid-50s. This is when it's best for it. And I need to have water clarities of sort of like that 3 to 6 foot zone. 4 foot clarity would be considered perfect. On top of that, with a big oversized jerkbait like this, you need to have a nasty day for them to bite this. It's not going to work very good on those bright bluebird skies with not much wind. But if you get, say, for example, a March day, say the air temperature is 65, 70 degrees, water temperature is 55, 57 degrees, it's cloudy, it's windy, maybe it's light rain or something, guys, you put on this big Kanata and see what happens. I like to fish it on steeper rocky banks, riprap banks, bluff banks, channel banks. These are prime areas where the fish like to stage at, sort of make long parallel casts, try to target that 5 to 15 foot zone depending upon the clarity. And most of the time I'm fishing it like on 7 foot, medium heavy bait cast rod with usually 12 to 15 pound test Seaguar and Vezex line. I prefer 15 if I can get away with it. With 15 pound line, when you get this thing weighted like with suspend strips, it's gonna run down there 7 or 8 foot, but caught some really good fish on this thing over the last couple of years. Okay, the next thing with that is a lipless crankbait in the pre-spawn time of the year. And I'm not talking about a lipless crankbait over grass. Everybody knows how great a lipless crankbait is over grass. It's probably one of the best ways to catch them over submerged grass beds. I'm talking about fishing it on rocky lakes or gravelly lakes. Here's what you want to look for. Water temperatures in the 50s, anywhere between 50 to 60 degrees. And the areas that you want to look for are the flatter gravelly type banks. You don't want to fish this lipless crankbait on any type of a steeper bank. It's flatter banks, and what I like to concentrate on, let's say for example, you're in one of your favorite creek arms or a cove, and pick out a cove that's got some flatter type banks on it that drops off in a little bit deeper water. And when you have flatter banks, especially gravelly or maybe rock as big around as your fist, that gradually tapers off into 5, 10, 15 foot of water, those big female fish a lot of times will suspend out towards the mouth of those coves before moving shallow back in. So I like to take like a 3/4 ounce lipless crankbait, throw it up to the bank, and just slow roll it close to the bottom. I'm not trying to fish this thing up in the water column. I'm wanting to keep it within a foot or 6 inches to a foot of the bottom. So I'll just throw it out there along those flatter banks, let it hit the bottom, and just slow crank it a little bit, 5 or 6 times, and then I may let it float down to the bottom, slow crank it a little bit more, and just try to keep that thing, close to the bottom like this as much as possible. Sometimes I'll pump it, just pump it like off the bottom, maybe 3 or 4 inches. And guys, I've caught a lot of good ones. The biggest 5 fish limit I've ever caught in my entire life was on that technique at Lake Murray in South Carolina years ago. Okay, and the final one, guys, and this is for a deal when the water temperature is closer to 50 degrees, when it's real low 50s, is a big black buzzbait. This is the Megabass Jamaican boa. It's a large, oversized buzzbait with a black blade. You want a black blade, you want a large blade, big profile buzzbait when the water's cold. Now, this is, we did a video here recently on this, but I want to reiterate how effective this is. If you've got a warming trend, let's say, pay attention to your weather, you look at the forecast and it looks like it's going to be above average temperature. Say your average temperature in March is 58 degrees. Maybe you get a couple days where it's going to be 65, 70 degrees. If you get that condition there and you've got water temperatures between 50 to 55 degrees and you got water visibility sort of in that 2 to 3 foot zone, and you have a cloudy day with not much wind, preferably with like some high humidity, guys, you take a big black buzzbait and you fish it around shallow cover, whatever shallow cover that you have on a lake, and especially in the afternoon, and you see what happens, guys. Those big ones will annihilate this thing. And it is an afternoon bite. It's like when you got 52, 53 degree water, those fish will move up shallow in the afternoon, even if it's cloudy out. The radiation heats up that shallow water, even on those cloudy days. And those big fish will get up on those flatter banks back in the coves, and they love a big buzzbait. I mean, just fish it slow, just fish it just fast enough to get the blades above the water. Don't fish it real fast, and just concentrate on whatever shallow cover that you have once you get those conditions. But it's very conditionally as far as the weather goes in terms of if they're going to bite it or not. But anyway, guys, that's 3 things you need to try this year. Big jerkbait, oversized jerkbait, lipless crankbait, buzzbait. Get you some good fish. So we'll talk later.